Princess Aliana of the Valorian Empire had worn the sacred resonance crystal since her coming-of-age ceremony 15 cycles ago. The delicate jewel, embedded in an ornate bracelet around her wrist, was supposed to glow when she encountered her destined soulmate, a tradition her species had followed for millennia. In all those years, through countless diplomatic meetings, royal balls, and arranged courtships with noble-born Valorians, the crystal had remained as dark and lifeless as the void between stars. She had long ago accepted that perhaps she was one of the unfortunate few whose soulmate simply didn't exist, or worse, had perished before they could meet. Her parents, the Emperor and Empress, had grown increasingly concerned about the succession. Without a bonded mate, Aliana could not claim the throne, and the Empire's future hung in uncertain balance. That's why she barely noticed the human guard when she arrived at the Intergalactic Peace Summit on Neutral Station. Kepler 4 for to be. Humans were a relatively new species to the galactic community, barely 200 years since first contact. They were considered primitive by most standards, their lifespans laughably short, their technology crude. Yet they had proven themselves fierce warriors and cunning diplomats, earning a provisional seat at the galactic table. David stood at his post outside the Valorian delegation's quarters, his posture rigid and professional. He was one of 50 human guards assigned to security detail for the summit, selected for his exemplary service record and his ability to remain calm under pressure. At 28 years old, he was young by human standards, but had already seen combat in 3 border conflicts. His dark eyes scanned the corridor with practiced efficiency, alert for any threat to the dignitaries under his protection. When Princess Aliana swept through the corridor, surrounded by her entourage of advisors and handmaidens, David snapped to attention like all the other guards. He had been briefed on Valorian customs, the importance of averting one's eyes from royalty. Unless directly addressed, the proper way to bow, the protocols for emergency situations. What he hadn't been briefed on was what to do when said royalty tripped on her elaborate ceremonial robes. Aliana's foot caught in the trailing fabric, and she pitched forward with a startled cry. Instinct overrode protocol. David lunged forward, catching her before she could hit the polished floor. His hands grasped her arms firmly but gently, steadying her weight against his chest. The moment their skin made contact, the resonance crystal exploded with light. The brilliance was blinding, casting prismatic colors across the corridor walls. Aliana gasped, her violet eyes wide with shock as she stared at the crystal that had been dark her entire adult life. It pulsed with a rhythm that matched her heartbeat, growing brighter with each passing second. David released her immediately, stepping back and dropping into a formal bow. "My apologies, Your Highness. I meant no disrespect." But Aliana wasn't listening. She was staring at the crystal, then at David, then back at the crystal. Around them, her entourage had frozen in stunned silence. Handmaidens whispered urgently to each other. Advisors exchanged glances of disbelief and concern. "You," Aliana breathed, her voice trembling. "It's you. It's actually you." David looked up, confused. "Your Highness?" She held up her wrist, showing him the blazing crystal. "Do you know what this means? Do humans have any concept of soul bonding?" "No, Your Highness. I'm not familiar with it means," she interrupted, her voice growing stronger, "that you are my destined mate, my soulmate, the one person in all the universe whose essence resonates with mine on a fundamental level." She laughed, the sound containing equal parts wonder and hysteria. "And you're human. Of all the species, all the worlds, all the billions of souls in this galaxy, you're human." David's mind reeled. He was a guard, a soldier. He came from a working-class family in Neo-Chicago, had put himself through military academy on scholarships and determination alone. And this impossibly beautiful alien princess was claiming he was her soulmate? There must be some mistake, he managed. "The resonance crystal does not make mistakes," one of her advisors interjected, his tone cold. "It has been our most sacred technology for over 10,000 years. When it identifies a bond, that bond is absolute." He looked at David with barely concealed disdain. "Though I agree this is unprecedented." Aliana's expression hardened. She drew herself up to her full height. which even at 6 feet tall still left her shorter than David's 6'3" frame. Unprecedented or not, the bond is confirmed. By Valorian law and custom, I am required to pursue this connection, Your Highness. Another advisor pleaded, think of the political implications. A human, your father will never, my father will accept what the universe has decided. Aliana declared. She turned back to David, her expression softening. What is your name? David, Your Highness. David Chen. David, she repeated, as if testing how the human name felt on her tongue. I realize this is overwhelming. For both of us. I don't expect you to understand everything immediately, or to simply accept this based on a glowing crystal, she smiled. And David felt his heart skip a beat in a way that had nothing to do with alien technology. But would you be willing to at least speak with me? To learn about what this bond means? David knew he should say no. Knew this could only lead to complications that a simple guard had no business being involved in. Knew that his commanding officer would probably have his head for this breach of protocol. But when he looked into Aliana's violet eyes, he saw something that transcended species, culture, and star systems. He saw hope. He saw the same loneliness he'd carried his whole life, always feeling like he didn't quite fit anywhere, like something essential was missing. Maybe humans didn't have resonance crystals. Maybe they didn't have millennia of scientific tradition backing up the concept of soulmates. But they did have instinct, and every instinct David possessed was screaming that this moment, this woman, was important. I'd be honored, Your Highness, he said quietly. The crystal pulsed brighter, and for the first time in 15 cycles, Princess Aliana smiled with genuine joy.